55-gallon tanks are a size that many people step up to from their first 20 or 29-gallon tank. While being 4 foot long, it does have a narrow depth at only 12 inches. Looking for an idea for your 55-gallon tank? Let's take a look through my fish room and check out some ideas for your 55-gallon tank. Let's start out with this simple community tank. While this is a 40 breeder, you can easily transfer the stocking of this tank over to a 55. This tank is home to 3 species of fish: the Variatus platy, the Antinobius toweri, which is a Gadaeid species, and the Pseudomygale luminatus. The tank is aquascaped with dragonstone, a little bit of wood, and planted with needle leaf java fern, various crypts, and vallisneria. There's quite a few different things you can do to change this type of setup. You can change this tank to house a variety of different community type fish with various live bearers like guppies, swordtails, and mollies. You can even add schooling type fish like tetras, rasboras, or even Corydoras catfish for the bottom. Speaking of bottom dwellers, plecos are even an option as well. You can take this tank even further by changing the substrates, hardscape, and even the plants. There's just a ton of options with this type of community setup. A 55-gallon tank is an optimal tank for a small group of peaceful Mbuna species. This 125-gallon tank has 2 options for you that you can put in your 55. The yellow lab or the purple ACI. Just provide plenty of rock work and line of sight blocks to minimize aggression. African cichlids can be quite messy, so make sure to provide adequate filtration. I personally like the hang-on back filters for this type of setup. While African cichlids are not known to be plant safe, I've had pretty good luck with vallisneria. Many Mbuna species can be aggressive, so make sure to research your specific Mbuna that you're interested in to gauge its aggression level. As an alternative, you could also try housing some Victorian cichlids instead of the Mbuna if you're looking for a change of pace. Similar to the Mbunas, research is essential, so some of the Victorian cichlids can be quite aggressive. You could also take your new 55-gallon tank down the South American path, like this 75-gallon tank here. This tank is home to a group of Apistogramma cockatoides, an angelfish is a centerpiece, Corydoras catfish, and a school of cardinal tetras. This tank is planted with vallisneria, Pogostem and stellatus octopus, and dwarf chain swords in the front. You'll also find this tank has a sandy substrate for the cory cats and coconut huts for the opistos to hide in. The possibilities are endless with this type of setup. For example, you could switch out the cardinal tetras to a different type of tetras, same with the types of opistos and catfish. Plus, there are a wide variety of angelfish species out there. You could also take the angelfish and replace it with something like a Laticara curviceps or a Thoricles maculopinnis, which is related to the firemouth cichlid. If you do a setup like that, I would definitely get some larger tetras, because something the size of a cardinal tetra might definitely be eaten. This is another setup that definitely has quite a few possibilities. 55-gallon tanks are also great for rainbowfish. With their 4-foot length, you can start getting into the Melanitania species of rainbowfish. This particular tank is a 90-gallon, which is home to the Melanitania trifasciata from Habgood River and the Chilotharina eleni from Siriwu. This is another tank that's planted with mostly jungle val, but with some other plants sprinkled in as well. Since they are fast-moving fish, rainbows will need plenty of swimming space to be happy. I would also start out with 6 or more of these species as well for them to feel comfortable. If you're looking to start a rainbow fish breeding project, add a spawning mop, feed them well, and eventually you'll have some eggs and have the opportunity to raise some fry. If you're looking for a complement to this tank, I would either look into some plecos or maybe some Corydoras catfish. Let's head back to Africa in Lake Tanganyika. First, let's take a look at these rock-dwelling Neolamprologus burchardi. You'll just need to provide this species plenty of rock work, and they'll give you plenty of fry and plenty of enjoyment. You could also remove the rocks and make this into a shell dweller tank with any of the shell dwelling species like these Neolamprologus similis. You could also take this in a different direction and put something in it like a Cyprochroma species. These fish do take a while to color up, but once they do, they're absolutely stunning. One thing you have to be careful with using a 55-gallon tank is making sure that you don't buy the jumbo species, because those would get bigger than your 55-gallon tank would handle. You can even take another path as well and add a group of Tropheus. Whichever fish species you choose, just make sure to do your research and provide them with the proper diet and aquascape to suit their needs. Next, let's talk about the Betta Sorority. If you're a beginning fish keeper, I would gain some seasoning first before attempting to do this Betta Sorority. This is a 54-gallon bow front, which you can easily move into a 55. One of the key things you need to think about with the Betta Sorority is aggression. This tank is aquascaped with tons of hiding places and is also heavily planted. This tank also includes two types of dither fish, the Harlequin rasbora and the Ember tetra. There are two things you need to keep in mind if you're looking at keeping this type of setup. First of all, you always need to be observant so that you can react to aggression issues between the female bettas quickly so they don't escalate and cause further problems in the tank. Secondly, you need to have a backup plan and know where you're going to put your bettas in case of aggression or in case it doesn't work out. Housing a group of these beautiful fish together is definitely something that you can be proud of and definitely a great showpiece in your fish room.